So I'm looking at this picture and I love you. I'm loving Yogananda. And next thing you know, guys are looking at me. They're alive. The whole face is alive. The whole thing is alive. And next thing you know, I'm just zapped out of my body. And it was like the cosmos had a big vacuum cleaner and just sucked my soul right out of me. And I'm out. I found myself traveling faster than the speed of light, faster than the speed of, almost the speed of thought. And I'm seeing all these things like Star Trek, warp speed, and all these lights are coming at you. And I was this film of color, rainbows. I was a rainbow, just a long rainbow, as thin as you could be, a film, right? And I'm just zipping through the cosmos. There was stuff coming at me from all directions. It was like, what was happening was, it was conscious expansion. And it looked like I'm traveling. I wasn't traveling anywhere. I was expanding into everything. And when I'm in this rainbow body, I'm aware, I don't know whatever the term may be, but around me is planets, solar systems, cosmos. I'm watching Big Bangs take place in parts of the cosmos. I'm just zipping by and I'm seeing black holes sucking stuff in.
Welcome to the Endless Possibilities Podcast, where the journey of spiritual awakening and energy healing unfolds.
Now, hello and welcome to the Endless Possibilities Podcast. My name is Gareth and I'm happy to be here today as your host for another great interview. Today on the show I have Reverend Bill Macdonald. It's quite a long introduction, but he's got quite a story. Reverend Bill's life has been a spiritual journey spanning slightly over 7 decades. His whole life has been a mystical trip in search of gurus, the paranormal, and self-discovery. He has written about his many spiritual transforming experiences and near-death experiences, including supernatural events during his combat tour in the Vietnam War. In his books, he has shared some incredible spiritual events that are beyond both common understanding or explanation. His autobiography, Warrior, A Spiritual Odyssey, takes us on a life quest for love, understanding, forgiveness, and enlightenment. His follow-up book, published in 2017, Alchemy of a Warrior's Heart, continues that mystical journey, including 4 trips to India for even more profound experiences with holy men, miracles, and his personal relationship with the divine. His books are also available in German and Spanish. What he knows for sure after all of these years is that the only thing that is truly real is love. He is an author, an award-winning poet, international motivational speaker, artist, film advisor, veteran advocate, a Vietnam War veteran, Distinguished Flying Cross, the Bronze Star, the Purple Heart Medal, 14 Air Medals, and the Vietnamese Cross of Gallantry. He has spoken around the world, including Germany, England, Wales, Bolivia, and India. He has been involved with a dozen films and documentaries, such as In the Shadow of the Blade, shown on the History Network, The Art of Healing, shown on PBS. Reverend Bill has been on over 800 radio and TV shows over the last 18 years, and his story about his life featured in over a dozen books by other authors and in over 100 magazines, newspaper articles. He has had articles in diverse publications as Parade Sunday Magazine and the Self-Realization Fellowship Magazine, as well as military magazines and New Age magazines. His YouTube channel has gotten over 550,000 views in the first 18 months it was posted. Reverend Bill, welcome to the show.
Well, top of the morning to you from America.
Thank you for joining me. I think we're going to have a great conversation. We've just been having a quick chat there before we hit record. Yeah, what a story. I've just recorded your introduction as well. 7 decades of spirituality. I guess we'll go back for those who don't know you. Maybe we'll go back to the start and what started you off on your journey.
Well, here's the thing. People always ask people that have had near-death experiences, and I've had three, and they'll go, well, how'd that change your life? I mean, that's like alternating, change your life. And I'm going, no, that's just all part of my life. I haven't had one of those. I mean, I've had moments that people go, wow, it's an out-of-body experience. Wow, it's a rainbow body experience. Oh, you're in Samadhi. Whoa, you had this, supernatural thing happen in Vietnam. You should have been blown up and killed. You saw a ghost. All these things happen. And I go, that's called Tuesday around my house. It's just stuff. It just happens every day. But nothing's altered my initial personality and my mission that I was born with, that I feel I was born with. So what you see now, this childlike man that's going to be 80 my next birthday,
Wow.
I'm still a kid, and I choose not to grow up by choice. I think being an adult is greatly oversold,
I agree.
and I don't want to be mature, and I don't want to act my age. I see these 80-year-old guys are walking around and and they're complaining and a big day. They go out to the golf course and have a beer, and I'm going, and then they're gathered with a bunch of old people for coffee, and I'm going, what? And you and I both know because we both do seminars, retreats, talks, lectures around the world. I've been watching your stuff. You're around the world, and I'm going. We're missing each other by months in some of these places. If we could go back and coordinate it, but it's like I'm more busy now, going on my 80th year, than I was when I was working full time for my life. The rest of my life. I've been retired almost 25 years, and I've been a chaplain at Folsom Prison, volunteer, right? Not getting paid. I've been a volunteer for the America's National Suicide Hotline. I've been helping Vietnam vets with PTSD. I've been helping my community. I've formed a couple of author associations, American Author Association, which is about 3,500 authors, Military Writers Association. I found fine arts foundations. I've done all that stuff on the side. And then I got my spiritual warrior ministries, which I'm going around the world and giving away free, free, no charge. I'm not a business. I give free lectures, free self-healing workshops. I pay for my way. I pay for the hotel. I do everything. Thank God I got people out there to believe in what I'm doing. And once in a while, like when I was in England last year, I was concerned because I ran up some pretty heavy bills in London. I didn't realize how expensive it is to rent something by the hour in downtown London. And I go, whoa, and somebody heard me. Next thing you know, members of the royal family were picking up the tab and somebody else was doing. I've never taken this ministry into the hole, even though I pay for everything up front. Like I'm going to Europe here coming up. It's going to be about $45,000 just off the top, right? I'm paying out, and everything I'm doing over there is donated free. I'll probably, I have always come back even or a little bit better. It's just pure faith. So you're out there, you're a professional, you're doing this. This is not my living. This is my mission. It's a different thing because the other people you got to pay the rent. I mean, you got the mortgage, you got kids, you got bills. I'm at the place in my life I'm saying, no, now that's all taken care of. Now's the time to give the message. Now's the time to do the labor. And what I'm trying to do is find people out there and people watching your podcast here, maybe people that would self-nominate themselves because I'm not going to go out and ordain people, but people that really want to learn what I'm doing about the power of love, forgiveness, and gratitude. And all that leads to healing, not only yourself, but society, the world, the cosmos. So it's all connected. That's what I'm teaching. And I'm looking for people out there that will take that message, younger people, and continue it for the next decades. Because 80 years old. How much more do I got left in the tank? And let's get real. I mean, I've had 3 near-death experiences. I've had 36 major heart attacks. I've been shot in the chest with a machine gun. I've been blown up by a rocket. I've been in helicopter crashes. You name it. Everything is gonna happen. Car crashes, motorcycle, everything could happen. And yet, even though I've been predicted to be dead many times by doctors and stuff, I'm still ticking. I'm still upright. I'm still functioning, having my hot chocolate this morning. So what I'm looking for are people out there that are listening to this and saying, I'd like to serve. And I'm not asking people to do much except love. Just teach love. In the process of teaching people love, healing comes natural. It's when you love yourself and you love the God within you and realize that, wait a minute, the God within me is me, and I'm loving me, I'm loving God. And if I'm loving God, then I'm loving my neighbor because they got the same stuff, right? And then, whoa, that means I love my enemy too, because that's also God. What's not God? So pretty soon you become aware that it's not I, a small I, or even a big I. It's a us. It's all of us. We're all one. It's that cosmic consciousness. We're all part of that. And we think we're separate because we have an ego, right? And we have a personal story. I mean, I'm this, you're that. I mean, and therefore, if you have an ego and you have a personal story, then you buy into this materialistic world, and therefore you believe in birth. And if you believe in birth, then you have to believe in pain, suffering, joy, peace, all the stuff that goes with that. And then you got to believe in death because you believe in birth. And then if you believe in death, then you got to believe in heaven, hell, what's in between, 7 heavens, who knows, cosmos, reincarnation. I was asked on a podcast or it was a radio show, actually. I think it was an AM radio show from Budapest. I think 2019, the guy asked me, he says, well, obviously, we looked at your videos, you believe in reincarnation. And that's a simple question, but I go, actually, no, I don't. The guy goes, no, well, I go, I don't even believe in incarnation.
I hope you are enjoying the show. This is just a quick request. If you would like to help this channel out, all you have to do is just hit subscribe. Subscribing to our channel lets YouTube know that we are a worthwhile podcast, and they push us out to new audiences through the algorithm. This means that the bigger our audience, the bigger the guests we can have on, and we can continue to keep growing the show. Now, back to the interview with Reverend Bill Macdonald. Thank you so much.
How can I believe in reincarnation? And it's like, so to me, my mission is just teach love. Other people are out there teaching religion, dogma, scripture. Well, that's nice. If that makes you happy, no judgment. That's great. But I live in a cosmos, in a universe that's within, that God has no religion. You don't pray to God because that would mean God was separate from you. God is you. There's no separation. It's like when I went to Babaji's cave, my first trip to India, I was in Babaji's cave, and I've been there all my life. I want to be there. I am in this great cave. I close my eyes, I meditate, and then it finally dawned on me. I mean, it's a beautiful place, great vibrations, all that. And I go, when I'm at home in my meditation room, or sitting in a redwood forest here in California, beautiful redwood. I don't know if you've been in a redwood forest, but it's to die for. The ferns and everything, and it's the same feeling when you close your eyes. If you're in tune, there's no difference between being here in this office, Redwood Forest, the temple, the Vatican, Babaji's. It makes no difference where you're at. When you're new on the path and you're a seeker, and I think all of us qualified for that title once upon a time, we want to seek out those sacred places. It's because it's an adventure. It's like a merit badge of spirituality, right? Well, I've been to the Himalayas. I've been to Tibet. I've been to Machu Picchu. It's like, well, that's great. Well, one day you're going to wake up and you'll be a little older and you'll be sitting in your house and you go, I don't have to travel anywhere. It's inner. There's no place to go to. There's nothing outside of this. The kingdom of God really is within, and that means all of creation as well. So we were talking before the show that somebody asked me on one of the podcasts, who made God? And I hadn't been asked that before. So I had to go back to, I was in India, but I'm sitting around this campfire outside of Pune at this ashram. The ashram was a guy named Gurnath. And it was just all the young people had gone to bed. It was like 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning, and the fire is getting really low. You know, it's an Indian night and it's getting cool. It's January. It's just me and him. You know, he's like a year and a half older than me. So, you know, two old guys sitting around the fire. And I'm going, after we sat and meditated for about an hour, I finally go, I got a stupid question. And he looks at me and says, no stupid question. What do you got? And I go, who made God? So I was going to throw it back on him, right? Who made God? And he looks at me, he's quiet. He says, yeah, I had that same question. I still got that same question. I go, what? Really? He says, and I've asked all the rishis and all the sages and all the gurus and the Nath guys, and he asked that question. And everybody comes back, well, we don't know exactly who made God. We're not even sure if God doesn't have a God. And I go, what? He says, yeah, he says this whole thing could be like Russian dolls, you know, nestled inside of each other. God made this God, but this God made this God that made that God. In other words, the whole thing could just be one big dream. The cosmos, just one big dream. Where does it end? So, yeah, that was farther and deeper, and I probably wanted to go with him, but it was like, does it make any difference? No. Because to me, God, or whatever you want to call God, I just call love. And so there's this cosmic consciousness, this one consciousness that I call God, that you call whatever, but I think of it as love. And so, you know, when the Big Bang came, you know, in the beginning there was light. Well, to me, light is a frequency, it's an energy. And love is an energy and a frequency. So to me, I kind of say light and love, it's all frequencies, it's all vibration. And to me,
I wonder, could you distinguish between a consciousness and love?
is there any difference?
Yeah.
You're asking a great question I've never asked myself. Is there a difference? To me, no. To me, here's how I look at it. And this is really simple, you know, simple. Going back to my statement that I say I don't want to grow up. To me, if everything's made from this, right? Well, it's the essence of God. That means everything that ever was created in the cosmos, everything, material world or not, is made up of this frequency. And that frequency I call love. And so, yeah, how do you separate love from anything else, from consciousness or whatever? To me, that is consciousness. It's just love is an awareness. That's it. It's just an awareness. It's just love. But you and I were both embraced, touched by, kissed by this divine love. That's how we came into being. Now, if we sit around or think through our egos, we believe that we're these little independent egos running around and we actually have domain and, you know, we can change, we're doing all these great things. But in truth, we're no more real than the dreams we have at night when we're sleeping.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're sleeping at night and you do things, you know, you're not in any danger. You never could have got killed in your sleep. You don't have any karma coming from your dreams. It's just dream, right? Well, when you dive to this material world, you just go to another level of dream. Now you wake up to another dream. So all along, you're just a dreamer having a dream, being dreamt by the dreamer of all, the consciousness, the power of love. It's all just dreams. But it's not like, oh, God created all these terrible stuff, you know, cancers and wars and all these things. How terrible. And I look at everything in this world is ultimately a gift. We come down here, we're here to learn, to evolve, basically. Our job in the material world is to take our tasks, our lessons, our program to enhance our spiritual evolution. That's all it is. So if you got cancer, if you have troubles and things, all that is not a punishment. Karma is not a punishment. It's just tools that you're supposed to use to find your path to the spiritual evolutionary process. And now you get down to the question of ultimately, I don't know if you're going to ask it or not, but ultimately, is there such a thing as free will, which is the other big question, right? Because I honestly believe that when I see people, and that's actually part of my title too for my latest book, I Remember Tomorrow, which is kind of an interesting title, but it's like, no, tomorrow, which is now, you just can't see it because you're not in the frequency for being in future tomorrows. We're all self-realized. We're all Buddhists.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're all dissolved back to the one. So if that is the ultimate destination of every ego that was ever born into this material world, to be dissolved back into the ocean of divine, right? If that's our destiny, where's your free will? Because let's say it's a gambling place, right? You're going to gamble at this place, right? We know the house always wins, right? It's like you got to go in there and beat the house always wins. God always wins. Your soul is never going to be lost. And even when you're at the worst, drugs and crime and garbage stuff happening in your life, what happens? You get beaten down by the material world, and now you're facing sickness or jail or destruction and all kinds of things. What happens when you're really down? That's when you cry for mercy and love and grace. And you start changing. Mm-hmm. We don't change unless unfortunately for human beings, it's a rare person that changes because of love, although I believe love changes people. More people change because of pain and suffering. Thus,
It's a great teacher. It's a great teacher. Yeah.
Yeah. But you don't have to go that course. You can learn everything through divine grace of love. But that's not the path that most people take. So anyway, so the bottom line of that question, self-asked and self-answered, is I'm not too sure there's such a thing as free will. Free will determine, quote unquote, how long you traverse this highway, how many delays you want to make, how many detours you want to make. But ultimately, the highway, no, it doesn't lead to hell. There's a song, Highway to Hell. It's more of a stairway to heaven, right? So eventually, we all find that destination, and we realize there was never any separation. Never. And when we as a group wake up, it's all gone. Now, if the divine us wants to create another whole world, because you kind of look at the cosmos and they're always being created and then they're blown up and just, and sucked into a black. They're always either being created or they're stabilized or they're being destroyed. So all right now, it's happening out there in the cosmos. There's always some places being destroyed, right? So it's a never-ending cleanup process. Worlds are being destroyed, worlds are being created, worlds are being lived in like here. But eventually, 3 billion years, this planet will be gone. Sun will be gone.
So do you believe that we all eventually become self-realized or know our true essence, and then the game dissolves and a new game replaces it and it starts over again?
I think that depending on what part of the material cosmos you're in, and that's only that material world, then you have to realize there's multi-dimensions. I think both of us are familiar with. There's multi-dimensions. So you got stuff going on interdimensionally all over. So you got those worlds. There's always a game on. There's always a movie playing in God's Playhouse. I mean, there's always something going on. Now, when we wake up, we wake up. But I think there's other people there's always souls being created. I don't think the well is dry. I think as you dissolve, more are created. Why? I have no idea. I don't think anybody can ask the question on why why would the divine, why would love do this? I mean, it's unanswerable question. And a lot of these things that people think they got the answers for, you can't get the answer in a human mind. It's
Yeah.
not from the mind to the mind for the mind to understand. These things are beyond the mind. And when you're in some state of samadhi or a rainbow body or some other place and
You
you're
don't
not
care.
necessarily, you can open the door to other things, you know.
Yeah. So you just mentioned the rainbow body there, and I haven't heard many people. I've heard of it, but do you want to talk a little bit about a rainbow body?
Yeah, I didn't even know what one was other than when I was young, I think I read some things about Tibetans,
Yeah.
when they died and then rainbow leaves their body, and that's all I knew about it. But I had an experience when I was first married, and I used to meditate 4 hours a day, 2 in the morning before I went to work from 4 to 6. And then I'd meditate from 8 to 10 at night. And this one night I meditated like about 4 hours in a row after doing chanting for an hour. I think it was on a weekend. And I did chanting for an hour and I did postures, for a long period. I did everything, right? I did several different type meditation techniques. And then when I finished my meditation, which most people don't do, and it's like you prepare yourself for this, and then that's the end of it, right? Everybody thinks meditation is the techniques. Well, I've done all the techniques, I've done Kriya Yoga or Om technique or whatever, and then boom, I'm done. You get up. No, that prepares you to just sit. And when you finish a long 2 or 3 hours of all this, then you just sit for an hour, totally open, just loving the source, loving the divine, with no thoughts of I'm meditating to become self-realized. I'm meditating to become, enlightened. I want powers. I want to be able to read minds, channel, do healings. None of that. You're meditating for no gifts. You're meditating just to say, I love you, God. I love you. And that was the state I was in. It was just giving love and being open to love. It was just that exchange, wanting nothing. And I went to bed and I'm laying there and I got a picture of Yogananda, just like that one there behind me.
I see it. I see it in the background. Yeah.
And there's an owl in front of it. That exact picture, actually. It's old. It's 50 some years old sitting there. And that picture was sitting on my nightstand. And I go to bed and I'm staring at it. I'm still in this meditative glow, even though I finished formally all this. And you go to bed and I'm just laying there. My mind is just, and I'm looking at that picture and I'm staring. And you've been around a while and you've done seminars. There's a real simple old medieval meditation that people used to do, like monks and stuff. They'd get a drawing of Jesus or a statue or something, and they would focus on this icon or whatever it was, and they just, I love you, Jesus, or I love you, God, or something. And they just go boom, and next thing you know, the thing, you're in it. You're a part of this thing. It's alive. It absorbs you. So I'm looking at this picture and I love you. I'm loving Yogananda. And next thing you know, the eyes are looking at me. They're alive. The whole face is alive. The whole thing is alive. And next thing you know, boom, I'm zapped. I'm just zapped out of my body. No way to say that. And it was like this the cosmos had a big vacuum cleaner and just sucked my soul right out of me. I was just, and I'm out. And I find myself, see, when I first told the story, here's what I said. I found myself traveling faster than the speed of light, faster than the speed of almost the speed of thought. There is thought as fast as speed, really, but it's like it's just moving. And I'm seeing all these things like Star Trek, warp speed, and all these lights are coming at you. And I thought for years that I was traveling, and I was this film of color, rainbows. I was a rainbow, just a long rainbow, as thin as you could be, a film, right? And I'm just zipping through the cosmos. And it wasn't until about 25, 30 years later that I woke up from a dream that night. And I go, oh, I got it. I wasn't traveling at all because there was stuff coming at me from all directions. It was like what was happening was it was conscious expansion. And it looked like I'm traveling. I wasn't traveling anywhere. I was expanding into everything. And when I'm in this rainbow body, I'm seeing, sensing, I'm aware, I don't know whatever the term may be, but around me is planets, solar systems, cosmos. I'm watching I'm watching big bangs take place in parts of the cosmos. I'm just zipping by and I'm seeing black holes sucking stuff in to get back to our other conversation. I'm seeing all that. I mean, it's like the creation is going on. And it feels like, because there's no time, but from all I'm seeing, whichever direction I look and where my awareness is at, it's 300 million years. I'm processing 300 million years of Earth time, which mind-boggling if you say it now, but then it was like, yeah, okay, fine, here's the past, here's the future. I can go through the Middle Ages, I can go through anywhere I want, right? Just here it is. And I had this awareness of this sound. There's a sound of creation. Think about this. All the atoms, I mean, we could get down smaller and smaller, but just there's just molecules, right? Because it's easier to deal with. And you got electrons going around all this stuff. That energy that moves all that stuff and the movement through time space makes a sound. And that sound we know as Om or Om or Aw man. You know where Aw man comes from? It's kind of odd. Aw man. I mean, what does it mean,
Mm.
right? It's the same in all languages, right? But it's mankind trying to create this sound of creation. But you hear that. Not only do you hear it as part of this, as I'm this rainbow body, I'm feeling it as I am that sound. And I see these planets, and it's not like I visualize the planets. I am those planets. I am everything I'm aware of. Because seeing is the wrong thing. Because it's sound, it's smell, it's taste, it's touch, it's elements and senses that I don't even know how to explain, that unknown. And so all this expansion, it's all about love. And it's like you're just in this cocoon that that's it's wrapped you in love, and yet it's not contained, even though I call it a cocoon, because it reaches everywhere. But you feel comfortable, like, there you are, right? And so I saw things about the past, saw things about the future, saw things about my life, saw all these things. And then I realized also that I was not alone. This is what gets weird. I was not alone traveling in this rainbow. It's like my body. I got a finger here, and in this finger, there's cells. Now, this cell over here says, I'm this cell. I'm a, I'm a cell. There's nothing outside of me. No, this cell eventually realizes that, no, that cell is me. It's this whole entire me. And this rainbow body, which I felt to be like a cell, I realized it's all, there's other intelligence here. There's other consciousness here sharing this cosmic experience. It's a group soul thing. And these other spirits, highly evolved, highly vibrating people in this rainbow body. And this is what I'm told, I could be crazy, but people, spirits, souls, whatever, I don't know what to call them. Pieces of this rainbow body would reincarnate on Earth and elsewhere periodically, and their job of that rainbow body was to support these people when they reincarnated into these places. And the idea of these people coming back was to advance soul evolution where they went. And so these people would go and they'd be spiritual teachers, healers, whatever. And that's what this group, they kept evolving in and out, and they come back and rest, you know. But they were destined, this group was destined never to get off the merry-go-round. It was a continuous go back and rest, go back again, go back and rest, go back again. But every time you came back into a lifetime, the awareness of who and what that experience was is gone. You're like a regular human being, but you have this spiritual memory in your DNA. And at some point in your life, it wakens up and you go, oh, this is my purpose. This is my journey. This is my program. And I didn't know that when I had this experience. All this is going on. And I was told so much. And I was given so much information. And some of the stuff was like, you can't take this back. I knew that. You can't take this back. You can't talk about this. You will forget this. We're going to take it off. Some of the stuff you'll remember a year from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now. When you're ready and the people that you're talking to are ready, some of this stuff will come back. And I've witnessed that. So finally, what happened after about an hour and 10 or 15 minutes, Earth time, of being this weightless cosmic thing, I remembered my wife and my children. I remembered my life here in the now. And that's all it took. I separated myself from this for the dream of this I'm doing now. When I remembered it, that was the end of it. Boom, I was like a 5,000-pound body. I'm back in this body and I'm crying. My wife, what the heck's going on? I was just tearful. I was crying for an hour because it was my memory of this world that brought me back. When I was out there, even though it was 300 million years, it was only an hour and 15 minutes here.
I've experienced similar where it feels like you could have lived 20 lifetimes somewhere else and then boom, you're back and it's only been a couple of seconds.
Yeah, because there is no time there.
Yeah.
There is no element
It's
of
totally
time.
different. It's a totally different, yeah.
Yeah, without space and time, there's just pure consciousness. There's just love. And it's a whole different world. But discovering that once, as you have, it changes your perspective on everything you see after that. And the
And
importance of
was that a kind of like a resting place for advanced souls who, weren't necessarily in that karmic cycle of just coming back in as humans time after time? They had maybe made it out before and graduated.
yeah, that's exactly what it was. It was people that were not being pulled back.
Grad
It wasn't being pulled back by karma. They could, but they volunteered at some level. Who knows about free will again? But they volunteered to keep coming back and get pain, suffering, to lead. It's like the old military thing: leave no man behind. This
Yeah.
group is like leave no soul behind. Let's bring everybody together, and so they reincarnate as a duty, as service, but not as required by karma. And there's a difference.
So they could
It's
choose not to come back if they wanted to.
Yeah, I guess they could have at some level, yeah. But it's a call. I guess it's a calling. You got to be crazy, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. It's funny because I had a very, very similar experience where I found myself in a lucid dream and I woke up on this blue planet and I had friends there and they explained the whole concept of time was different. Like 10 minutes of time there was a full 80 years of life here. And, it was something similar. It was like this sort of place where I could go in between lives, rest, take time, and then come back in. So it sounds like a similar place.
Yeah, here's what I feel is right. I never say this is the truth because I
Yeah.
mean arrogant. Things I believed in 20, 30 years ago, I'm going, well, let's look at it. I always question everything. But to me, there really are at least seven heavens, as it says in the Bible. They call them heavens. I just call them dimensions or worlds or whatever. I believe there's even multi more than that. Based on your frequency, in other words, as you live your life, you love, you serve, your frequency evolves. Your kundalini raises, you're vibrating, literally vibrating differently. And therefore you can travel to different dimensions and go to the higher ones. Let's say Mussolini or Hitler or Stalin or somebody, well, they're going to be at a lower frequency and they're not going to be able to elevate to these other frequencies. They can't go visit them. Higher beings with higher frequencies can go down and help
Mm.
people lower frequencies, but you can't go above where it's like, fish can't walk on land, birds that they're in the air, everybody has their place by frequency. So yeah, you're right. You go places, and I think there are like seven heavens. I think Edgar Casey talked about that, about seven heavens. To me, that makes sense. There's levels, and you're not going to be with people that don't radiate and vibrate with you. They're going to be similar, you know, frequency, which gets you down to this whole thing about frequency, because frequency is all about, you know, service and love, but by your diet, by how you live your life, how you love, how you help, how you think, all these aspects brings your frequency up, or just the opposite. You're doing drugs, alcohol, you're overeating, you're angry. One of the worst things, you hold grudges and you don't forgive. These things bring your frequency levels down.
Mm.
And so I think most people have managed, they're having a hard time just managing the stuff that brings frequencies down. So my
Yeah.
job, when I go out, in case when I talk about doing these healing workshops, I talk to people for an hour or two or three, whatever the group needs, and it's my, not what I say, because I tell inspirational story. It doesn't matter what I say.
Mm.
It's the frequency of what I'm saying
Transmission.
penetrating them. And if they got an open heart, then I don't know if you've seen the videos of some of the healings and things take place at my events. But if the people are open to the energy, then I treat them, and I tell them, I said, I'm not the healer. The healer is within you. You are your own healer. You're your own guru. You're your own teacher. You're your own savior. Look in the mirror. Don't go look for somebody outside of you. The trouble is, there are people on the journey that are still treading on the ground level, and they need advisors, they need guides, they need teachers, they do need gurus. When you reach a certain level, you realize, well, I got it all. There's nothing outside of me. So why do I keep asking all these people? Oh, it's me. But no man is above not listening to a child or a baker or somebody. There's always wisdom from the universe that comes from all kinds of places. So be open to everything, for learning and extending your wisdom. But the greatest teacher is within you. It's
Mm.
you,
Yeah.
because all the answers are there.
Yeah, it's a beautiful message. I wonder, could you go back a little bit to this change in frequency, right? Because I meet so many people who are going through spiritual awakenings, and I guess what's happening is their frequency is changing, and then their old world seems to be crumbling around them, right? The job doesn't fit anymore, the marriage maybe falls apart, friends disconnect,
Absolutely.
difficult period for people.
Yeah, I preach no revolution. It's all evolution. It's a difference, because when you start on your, well, everybody's on the journey. It's not a start point. It's when you get to a place in the road. Let's go that way. We're all on the road. We're all on this journey down the road, right? When you get to some place in the road, some people come to a fork in the road, and they choose to go up the mountain, and the other person wants to hang around, eat apples, right? So sorry, Adam and Eve. So we make a lot of choices in our life. It affects our frequencies. But when young people get married, let's go there. When young people get married, if you're 18, 20, 25 years old, you're not the same person you'll be at 50, let alone 35.
Mm.
And we tell people that's marriage forever. I mean, I do a lot of weddings. Trust me, I'm a minister, right? And I'm going, wow, 50% of these marriages ain't gonna work. Are all these people evil that just can't make a marriage work? No, they just are growing. So I don't beat up people when I tell you know what, if the marriage is not working, admit it, be friends. You came in friends and lovers, end friends and lovers. and move on. Make sure the kids are taken care of. Don't be mean. So it's not a sign of weakness. A divorce is not the end of the road. Sometimes if you look at divorce as a growth, it's a step, which most people don't. It's a failure. We've been taught in society, oh my God, they're divorced. We can't have them have, they can't get mass. They can't take the sacraments. They're, oh my God, they're divorced and you should be married forever. So, some of the churches, you got to be married forever to somebody that's beating you up, right?
Yeah.
Or emotionally abusing you or whatever. And I'm saying, I got a couple major rules in life that I teach at my website, at my seminars, workshops. Number one rule, you got to love yourself. Because if you don't love yourself, you can't love anybody else. You can't love God, etc. Everything starts with loving yourself, not an egotistical, I love me stuff. It's an awareness. You're first in line. You got to give yourself respect. You got to give yourself forgiveness. You're worthy. You're everything's you. It's okay. And so people don't have that. And they get into a marriage and this person fulfills me. They fill my missing parts, which is like the worst way to get married. It's like this person makes me happy. You know, no one's your clown. No one's no one's going to make you happy. That has to be you making you happy. And if you have to have somebody else to fill it, then you're going into that relationship not bringing a full you to somebody else that's not bringing a full them, and it's going to fail. It's just like, until both people realize you're not responsible to make me happy. That's my job. And when you both realize that, then you can grow. And you might even be able to stay in a relationship, but you're growing differently. And that's okay. I mean, my wife and I, we met when we were 14 years old. My wife just turned last week, she turned 79. So there you go. There's a few years. We're not the same. We change. But we're growing and we're traveling the road. Not exactly in tandem, but close. And we allow each other to be ourselves. We allow each other to be different. My wife says, go. Do you want? She doesn't like to travel. Great. I'm out there doing my thing. There's no guilt. Just go do your thing. And so I don't know if that answered your question or not, but basically, yeah, when you change, think about this. Friends you had in high school, probably don't have many of them anymore. Friends you had in college, probably not. Friends you're in the military with, that disappears. Friends in the previous neighborhood, apartment, house that you used to live in, you don't even associate with those people anymore. You moved away. Probably not very many relationships carried on. You changed jobs. You had friends at those jobs, but didn't necessarily transfer when you went to another job or even another department. So you're not the same with these people anymore. I mean, my old high school friends, I don't want to talk stuff that we talked in high school. And memories, you can't live on memories. I want to talk stuff like we're talking. Well, that eliminates a lot of people from my old group. I mean, they're nice, beautiful people. Nothing wrong, no judgment on that. I'm just saying we're traveling a different road.
It's a totally different frequency, right? It's just
Yeah. And it's not like you wake up one day and say, oh, I hate this person. I don't want to associate with this family member. I don't want to, that friend, I don't want to see anymore. It's just, it drifts. It just happens. You don't plan it. It's just, you're not calling that person anymore. And pretty soon they just disappear. You're not in
and
contact.
maybe you seem weird to them, right? You've changed. You're
Oh,
not the
yeah.
old
Oh,
version
yeah.
of Bill, right? It's like, what's happened to Bill?
Where's Good Time Bill, man? He just wants to talk God. What kind of stuff is this? So, yeah, I got contacted by a high school. Somebody went to my high school just yesterday on email. Oh, she was two classes down. She goes, I remember you were in a high school play, Little Abner, right? And I go, what? Somebody remembers that. But it was like, it was nice to touch with somebody with old memories. But
Yeah.
she's finally read my books and she discovered my books. Oh, I know you, right? And so now the level's changing and she's now reaching out because her vibrations are changing where she wants to hear what I'm doing. See, it's different, right? Than just going to a reunion and what's happening. So this somebody reached out and said, well, I really like what you're doing. I'm watching your videos. Whole different introduction. And so Yeah, we do change, we do evolve, and it's not a bad thing. In fact, I tell you this, if you go somebody and you talk to them and you find out that they're still hanging around with their original friends, the rat pack from whatever group they're with, right? There they are. They're not evolving.
Yeah.
Not saying these people are right, wrong, or different, or no value judgment. Just you're not exploring anything new. You're born and you're staying in the same religious path. You've never examined anything else, never looked at any other beliefs. You just, this is what I was given at birth. This is what I'm going to get. Okay, great. You're happy. You don't have to. But I'm telling people, like religion, because that's kind of like gifted to you by your parents. Here, we believe this, you believe that, right? And I'm going for social fellowship, holidays, family gatherings, and you want to practice that religious faith, go ahead. God's not upset. God don't care. That's good. I really I like churches for the community they create. They bring in like-minded people, which means if you're out of step with them, maybe it's not so good. But they get like-minded people together and they give something for the children and the wives and the husbands, and they get meetings and games and picnics, and that's all good. You
Community.
need
Yeah.
that. You need it. It's good. Nothing wrong with that at all. And if you're kind of out of that because you don't buy everything anymore, but that's okay to buy the community. It's okay. I don't know. God has no problem. You want to spend time with your family and community, great. But it's what's in your heart. Do you love others? More important, do you love those that don't love you? Oh, says in the end, it's not about who loved you, because you see celebrities, they die. Oh, they're the greatest thing ever, right? And everybody loves celebrities, no matter how crazy their life was. Oh, they're good people. Ozzy Osbourne, oh, what a great guy he was. Look at his social impact. I'm looking at a guy, go, what a life, man. I wouldn't want to have been, in that family. I'm sorry, and I'm
Yeah.
sure there's
Yeah.
people who love him and I don't understand him fully, but I listened to him talk. I go, he's had a couple too many drugs, but he had a place and he moved people and he touched hearts. So even he had a life destination that changed and altered the vibration of this world. So we all can't be the same, and we all offer different forms of stuff. Now, earlier you were talking about people having enlightening experiences, like they're waking their Kundalini energy or whatever. I think people have to realize and bring themselves back down a little bit, because everybody, before I got enlightened, if I hear one more person tell me that, I'm going to go, oh, geez. They had a near-death experience, or they had an out-of-body experience, or they had a 20 seconds of samadhi, whatever it is, and all of a sudden, before I was enlightened, I go, no, unless that's happening to you 24/7, you ain't there. There's levels of enlightenment. There's levels of awakening. Like, I'm awakened now. No, you're not, because you wouldn't be talking to me. You wouldn't have a body anymore. Because when you awaken, you're gone. This doesn't exist anymore. If you have a body, you have to take on karma. Even these people coming back from the rainbow body, even though they may have evolved out, they have to take on a certain level of karma, which means they're taking on pain, suffering, injury, disease, all these things to keep and maintain a body.
Hmm.
No karma, no body. So how can you do your work? But when you take on the body, you also take on karma, thus pain and suffering. In case you wonder why some of these great saints and sages have diseases and they're tortured and things, that's part of the parcel of taking on a body. It's all part of the program, not necessarily karma. Like, you think Jesus deserved to get nailed to the cross, right? It's like, or St. Francis having his eyes poked out with fire, hot iron. So there's more to this dream that we could even dream. And this dream is so unreal that there's another reality. And none of that is real. So we keep thinking, well, there's other dimensions. And then you always hear these new age people, all time is now. Well, they haven't really thought about that, because when I say all time is now, I mean, it really is running simultaneously out there, including what happens if I took this decision and went this direction, but I chose to go this direction. Even the alternate realities are out there. It's all churning. So who is the real dreamer? Who's the real dream? So where are you at with that? So if you narrow it down to the finest thing, this is just a dream. Then you can look at war, you can look at disease, you can look at all these terrible things. And when you go, well, nobody really got killed. The only pain they suffered was in their dream. Although it feels real, God knows pain feels real in this earth plane. You can't tell somebody that when they're going through the pain.
Yeah.
That audience will walk out of the room on you. Trust me. But in a more philosophical sense, there is no pain. There is no suffering. But we all know that's a crock of crap because we're in this dream and we're saying, wait a minute, Bill, wake up. Come on. You're here. I'm here. You feel pain. Yes, I do. But when this dream is over, I'll realize there never was any pain. But if you're going to continue to dream, you're going to feel it. And you're going to believe it. You're going to see it.
Yeah, it's funny that you mentioned a dream, right? I wrote a book, and my book is called Waking Up from the Dream, right? And I often talk to people about, right, yes, you do wake up from the dream, right? But you're actually still in the dream.
Oh, yeah, there's multi-layers here. It's like, okay, and we'll go back to this degrees of awakening because there are degrees
Yeah.
and it's a matter of frequency changes. And I'll give you a thing about frequencies because a lot of people have this, I'll believe it when I see it. And that's not my philosophy. I believe it. I will see it. A whole different thing. And I was in India in 2011, one of my trips. And I just had a major heart attack in Mumbai, taken to ER. And they go, you got to go home. You got to have heart surgery. This is bad and all that. Okay. So I'm back at the ashram. I'm sitting in the kitchen. This is my last day. I just packed up my bags. My bags are sitting there. I'm waiting for a ride to the airport. And there's a bunch of people in the kitchen, Westerners. And there was a couple of young ladies from Scandinavian, I guess it was Sweden. And I felt like somebody was, and I'll throw this to you because you know what I'm talking about. You're in a movie theater, somebody's sitting behind you, looking at your back, staring at your back. You know, you turn around and go, what are you staring at my back for, right? You know somebody's staring at your back. You feel it, right? Nobody's ever can explain that logically. Like, well, how do you know this? How do you know, right? But you know. So I'm feeling that. And I turn around and I'm seeing in flesh and blood a body, not a vision. You know, I can't, I mean, it's not a ghost. It's a physical body of the guru of Paramahansa Yogananda, Sirateshwar,
Yukteswar, yeah.
with the beard and the white hair.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
and he's standing there and he's got his arms folded, looking at me. And he's got his hands behind his back, looking at me. I just had a major heart attack. Trust me, major heart attack. I'm going, whoa, I must be dying here. What's going on, right? So I casually go to the group of people in this kitchen. I go, dining room area, actually. And I go, does anybody see anything, behind me here? And these two women from Scandinavia, they go, wow, we don't see nothing, just crazy, to them, yoga was doing the poses and lying down and twisting your body and wearing leotards and having beautiful food and you're in India and you chant and that was there's nothing wrong with that. I don't want to judge that, but that's the level they were at. They're not heavy meditators. Nice people, but that's where they were at. And then there was this guy from Texas, and Mark, I think was his name. And I go, Mark, you see anything? And he says, oh, Bill. He says, like it's a giant orb, like a sun burst behind you. It's huge. It's like radiating like crystal-like energy and light. In fact, it's so bright it should be blinding me, but it's not. And I'm seeing it, and I'm feeling overwhelmed with love, and my Kundalini energy is just jumping up and down on my spine. I'm going, well, that's pretty receptive. That's pretty good. He's at a certain level of meditation. I go to this other guy next to me. He was a lawyer from Los Angeles, and I go, what do you see? And he says, oh, you're not going to believe this, Bill. I said, oh, try me. He says, I see a vision meaning kind of like a vision, but not like a solid body, but kind of, you could see through it and stuff, but a vision of Siva Teshwar standing behind you. And I said, where's his arms right now? And he goes, I go, yeah, exactly right. So I know, like, he's seeing what I'm seeing. I'm seeing it in the flesh. He's seeing it in a vision. The other guy at another level seeing the light and feeling the love. And the other two, same room, different place. Same stuff going on. See, feel nothing. And see, that's when I realized that it's all about frequency. Because I've had experiences where Paramahansa or Babaji, or it's one of the great ones, is in the presence of my vent, and I'm going, and I go, nobody's seeing it, right? I had an interesting thing happen in Tucson, Arizona. There was about 450, 500 people in this church. It was an International Association Near Death Studies group. And I was talking about stuff, about an hour and a half lecture. And it wasn't anything to make you cry or anything. It was just stories and stuff. But I felt tears rolling down my cheeks, and all of a sudden I'm crying. And then I look at the audience, and we're talking about 80%, about 8 out of 10 people in the audience are crying. Doesn't match what I'm saying. They're all crying. And I'm going, they were feeling what I was feeling. And when I looked up at the ceiling, it was like, yeah, the angels were there. It was like, but nobody was seeing them. Nobody was looking up, but they were feeling the energy of these angelic beings over them, where they were all in tears. Well, except for 20%. It's like 20% of the people don't get it, right? They didn't feel it. They weren't there. They weren't receptive. And I didn't understand this whole concept. I watched a TV show in America called Brain Games, and they had a study done at UCLA, the university, and the professor brought all these students into theater, little theater, have them sitting in the theater. He says, half of your final grade is going to depend on your observation skills. So you better pay attention. I mean, I want you to really pay attention. Great details. Focus on just this. And he brought these dancers on stage, and he says, they're going to switch partners every so many seconds. Your job is to count how many different partners there were, combinations, how many times they switched. That's all you focus on. Just focus on that. And, half your grades is depending on this, right? So they played the music. These people got out and they danced, changed partners, got done. And all these students go, yeah. It was 36 part, whatever it was. They go up with numbers. And he just looked at him. He says, okay, here's the question. If you answer this, you get an A. Oh, they're already right. How many saw the 6-foot man in a gorilla suit dance in each group? There was 4 groups. And they looked at him and they all laughed. Then he played the video. And the video shows this guy in a gorilla suit coming out and dancing around each group of people, and then left the stage. Not one out of 30-some students, not one student saw it. They thought he was lying until he showed them the video. And then they showed the video. They go, what? They had no memory. Totally focused out because they didn't believe what they were seeing. It canceled it out. Same phenomena happened with Christopher Columbus.
Yeah.
And with Captain Cook, when Captain Cook went to the Hawaiian Islands, the Sandwich Islands back then, but the Hawaiian Islands, Captain Cook pulls in there. They didn't see him pull into the harbor. Same thing, Christopher Columbus pulls into the harbor. They didn't see the ships come in. Why? Because they'd never seen him before, so they didn't believe it. And it just canceled it out. So they draw ashore, and then they could see the ships, right?
Do you think that could be happening now with extraterrestrial ships and?
Absolutely. You're going down the right road with everything. With everything. It's not only frequencies, but it's also belief, where your own mind, you could see an alien, not an illegal alien. Where's ICE, right? But UFO kind. You don't believe it, you'd never see it. They could be visiting you and you'd never see it. Your mind can't handle it. And sometimes you can be so fearful that you don't see something as well, or doubtful, or closed-minded. Well, this is against my religion, therefore I can't see this. It's all these mind prejudice plus your frequency. But most people do not see the great spiritual beings around them. Everybody has them. I mean, look at yourself. You got a whole troop, right? Come on. They're looking after you. You don't have to see them, but you know they're there. You know, you don't have to worry about things. Things will work out. How do they work out? You got a team taking care of you. You can't do this thing alone. Not if you're doing devotional service. If you're really doing the work, you're going to be helped. And if you want to be helped and you open up, you will be helped. When your ego takes over and thinks you're the healer, you're the teacher, you got all the knowledge, you're the guru, and you got all the answers, the help kind of fades back. It's okay, buddy, it's yours. Go. So, yeah, they're there. And since there's no time and no space, and it's all here, there's no other place. It's all here. We're all here. It's there's not like, oh, they're over there, they're down the road. No, it's all here. And since I said everything's within, all these things are already within you. It's just your consciousness to see them and be aware and to feel them. That's all. So if you think about the divine, and most people can't handle the thought of God not having some sort of body. Everybody, I got to have God as Jesus. I got to have God as Buddha. I got to have God as Krishna. I got to have God as my guru. I got to see that. It doesn't matter. If that helps you to focus and your energy, it doesn't matter because it's all you. That's like I hear these people, well, in a previous life, I was walking with Jesus. I was Peter. I was Paul. I was this. I was Julius Caesar. And people criticize it. I go, no. I go, they're right. What do you mean they're right? Because there's only one. Therefore, everything and everybody was all one. So everybody was Jesus. Everybody was Mary. Everybody's been everything that ever was. There can be nobody else but the one. That's why people, they try to analyze this guy's book, Conversations with God. Oh, did he really talk to God? And I go, talking to yourself is talking to God. So in the highest sense, he's not lying. He talked to himself. There it is. Doesn't make any difference. Still the same, right? So I don't know. That's something to think about.
Yeah, that's incredible. Yeah. Do you want to talk about the work that you're doing at the moment, Bill?
Yeah, I'm doing work all over the world. I'm going to Encinitas, which is a great place for. You've probably been there, down by San Diego. That's where Yogananda had a lot of students and
No,
stuff.
but I've been invited to go there. Yeah.
Go there, and if you come, give me a little notice, and I'll show you around. That's only 400 or 500 miles away. California, we just drive down, no big deal. So I was in Oregon, I was just in Virginia Beach, I was just in North Carolina, I was in Hawaii, I was in Texas a couple times. I'm all over the place. But now I'm resting up for the next couple of weeks. I'm just doing small Zoom things and resting, and I'm
You're off to Europe though, right?
going to Vienna and explore Austria, and then I'm going to go to the Czech Republic, Prague, and I'm going to be on stage with this beautiful lady that's there. She's had me before, and she's got a theater, and it's going to be a live audience. And I enjoy going there, but having an interpreter really, you say a few words, it's being interpreted. It's hard to get into a flow, if you know what I mean. So, but I'm going to make it work. It'll work, and then I'm going to do a healing workshop there, which doesn't matter about interpretation because it's hands-on, it's energy. I've done some events in Europe where I found if I just stop, the interpreter said, don't interpret anymore. And I just talk. I said, just feel the energy. I tell the interpreter, tell them, don't worry about the words, just feel the energy. I get the same results. It's not the words. It's not them understanding the words. It's them feeling the energy. So like in Germany, I've had some really amazing things in England and stuff. So anyway, so then I'm going to London, and then I'm going to Harry Edwards Foundation, which you may be familiar with there in England.
Yeah.
He's kind of like the Edgar Casey of England. And he died, I guess, the early 50s or something, and he left his estate. And they train healers and channelers and psychics and all that stuff. And they invited me. Last year, I gave a talk on Zoom for them, and I visited them. And then this year, I'm coming over as a fundraiser, meaning I'm not getting paid a penny. I'm paying to be there. And I'm going to spend a week training my techniques, training their healers how to use my techniques for healing, which I'm honored to do. And they're going to raise some money because it's a good place. They're doing some good stuff. They're energy healing all over, and it's a beautiful thing. So I'm honored to be working with them. And then I'm doing a free event because I always like to be available to everybody because people got to pay to that one, even though I don't get anything. Then I'm doing a free event in Brighton, if you know where that's at, on the coast.
Yeah, I've been there. Yeah.
Okay, and either the Unitarian Church or the Spiritualist Church, I don't know, maybe both. I don't know. I'm going to do a workshop there, and then probably just take a little holiday to Scotland and Ireland maybe, and come home, and then finish a new book, and then get ready for Hawaii again, and Japan, Korea, Singapore, Australia probably next year.
I have a very good friend who brings in teachers into Ireland. He's got a magazine and an events company, and he brings in big teachers. And yeah, I'll hook the two of you up.
Yeah,
I've sent quite a few people to him.
I would love to go. Obviously, I don't have a big, I refuse to have an organization. Here's the kicker. What's your organization? I got no organization. You got a mailing list. Don't even have, I don't send out a newsletter. I hate those. I hate getting them. No newsletter, no mailing list, no organization to join. Well, how can you?
It just
I'm not a
works.
business. I'm not a church. I'm gifting you. And if you want to do what I'm doing, take it. I even tell these people, it's like people they want to do my book and finish. I don't care. It's yours. What do you mean it's yours? I told somebody the other day. You want to do it? I give you the rights to the book in that language. Do it. What? No, just do it. And it hasn't would that be word for word. You can make it fit your nationality and everything. It's the message of love. It's not about money. I do an event and I come home, my wife goes, you give away 50% of your books. What's going on? I said, well, I had donations in and it matched what I needed. I was covered. And so I was giving books away. What? I said, if they read them, the world is better. If I could upgrade you, meaning whoever's listening to this, if I could upgrade their vibration, it heals not only them and their extended influence, but the greater good. Practicing love is practicing healing at the most organic level. Love heals spiritually, emotionally, and eventually physically.
Mm.
And of course, the most important healing of all is not the body, because that's going to rot anyway. I tell people, spiritual healing. That's concentrate your focus on taking a spirit. Oh, I'm eating vegetarian diet, I exercise. I said, you can do everything you want to do, but take a look at the real world. I've seen these guys that are health guys, and they die at 40 and 50. And then I see the Rolling Stones, they're going to go to be 100, who knows? And, so it's just a body. You can't take it with you. But spiritual health, that's the evolution. That's what you take with you. So I tell people, when you die, you can't hook up a trailer behind you and pack up all your goods and go. You don't own anything. Oh, I own a house. You own property. No, you own nothing. You're the richest man in the world. Let's talk about Elon Musk for a minute, because I was contacted by one of his people here not too long ago. He's been watching my videos. I said, well, that's great. I don't want endorsement. I don't want anything from him at all. But if he's watching my stuff is teaching love and compassion. I hope that has an influence. But when he dies, and I don't want to pick on him specifically, but take any rich man, Bill Gates, any of them. When they die, they take exactly what I take. Nothing. They can't take their factories, their houses, their bank accounts. Nothing. It's gone. The house that they had, this is it. They worked their butt off for. Strangers will be living in it. People they don't even know years from now will be living in it. And their clothes will be worn by homeless guys someplace that somebody donated them to. So the only thing you can take with you is the power of love. So in my parting shot here with you, I just want to tell people, It's nothing but love. It's all about love. It's nothing but love. Love is the only thing that's real. And if you use love as your business card, in life will take care of you. But you got to take care of others. You got to think outside of you. I tell people you got to love yourself, yes. But you have to expand that to the greater we, the greater us. And when you love yourself, you really realize there's no separation. There you go. Simple as that.
That's a beautiful message, Bill. Really, really amazing. Very, very touching. If people want to get in contact with you, right, I'm going to put links down below to your books, to your website, your YouTube channel. Do you want to just let people know the address of your website, just for people listening?
Yeah, it's really complicated. If you look on the screen, it says Rev Bill at the bottom. Squeeze that together and put a .com. You get my website. Don't put a dot in there, just Rev Bill.
RevBill.com.
Yeah, just RevBill.com.
Okay.
BillMcDonald.com. And then if you go to my Facebook page, another complicated one, it's just like it says on the screen, Rev Bill Macdonald. That's my Facebook. Whoa, that's really complicated. So, and then you go on Amazon, you'll find I got about a dozen books. And the latest one is I Remember Tomorrow. There you go.
Yeah, we see. Yeah.
That handsome guy there. And then you got my autobiography. Here we go. There you go. Autobiography. There it is. I get Warrior. That's a picture of Machu Picchu. That's my birth all the way. That's an autobiography all the way through Vietnam and everything else. And then this one, all about my great adventures in India, meeting holy men, a couple of near-death experiences, and some real supernatural stuff. So that's these two other. This is a memoir. The other one's autobiography, and of course, I Remember Tomorrow is a memoir. Plus, I talk about my naughty palm leaf readings. Somebody channeled me in Hawaii, a kahuna channeled.
I've had the palm leaves done as well. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, and I got a forward in that. I think I got a forward in that book by Dr. Q, and the guy that runs the naughty thing. So yeah, I'm out there doing things. If somebody wants me to come to your area,
I'll definitely link you up with Paul from Positive Life. Maybe we'll get you back again, because I really wanted to get into your story, and you didn't give me that
today. Three test stories. Yeah, we were just philosophical today, but yeah, in Vietnam, I knew who was going to die, who was going to get shot, what aircraft's going down. Miraculous things happen. I got investigated by the CIA. They couldn't believe it. What's going on? Near-death experiences. I've had so much phenomena that I just take for granted. That's why I go off. I'm talking about these other subjects because, I've done those things. It's like
I know. You've probably spoke about them a million times.
But
Yeah,
there's people out there for the first time. That's how they'll discover me. So it's like, let's open up all the doors and let's see where it goes. But yeah, it was fun to be on here. We can talk again anytime you want.
I'll
And
reach out again, Bill. Thank you.
maybe we'll meet up.
You've been amazing. I mean, I've thoroughly enjoyed listening to you.
You're
Thank you.
easy. Easy.
Thank you so much. Thank you to the viewers and listeners. Take care.
This has been the Endless Possibilities Podcast, where the journey of spiritual awakening and energy healing unfolds. Garrett is a lifelong seeker of truth, a spiritual teacher and author, and it's his passion to delve into the profound world of consciousness. We hope you've enjoyed the show, and we hope you've gotten something from it. If you did, make sure to like, rate, and review. We'll be back soon. But in the meantime, the podcast is available on YouTube and all the major podcasting platforms. Find us on Instagram at _mother_force. Take care, and we'll see you soon on the Endless Possibilities Podcast.